All right, we have another game here. Interesting. You know what's most interesting, though? I find what's most interesting is that most people actually start off with like their own protection on the corner, and they don't actually start off with invading the other player's corner. I personally don't like this start. To me, that doesn't really make much sense, but sure. Like, leaving this is not good. I'll just go ahead and take his side. I know he has some influence, but I know he has influence, but he doesn't actually, it's going to be hard for him to make territory with that influence, I would think. Okay, that's fine. I think doing this, though, like, it's hard for him to actually respond. And it's going to be very hard for black to actually respond. And it does flatten him out a lot. Go ahead and do this. And I'm not going to respond to that. Since he actually played this move, I am going to do this first because it is a pretty big move. Like, he actually has to connect that. I'm also going to do this because that's also fairly large. And if he doesn't respond, he does leave options for later. Actually, that probably wasn't that great of a move. Now that I think of it, it does solidify this territory, but he's used a lot of moves to actually make that territory. Also going to do this.
Challenge received.
I'm playing right now, so I might accept that challenge later. So I'm basically forcing him to actually do this. There is also this invasion later. I just don't really want to do it right now. And I'm going to. Oh, you need. I'm pretty sure as black, you 100% need to Hane that. I'm basically reducing his influence up here and making sure that I actually get the better of these trades. I should actually play over here some. Don't want to play that. This is an interesting move. I personally do think it's overextending, but that's actually not a good response to it either. This gives you all sorts of problems with this. Now you're just kind of screwed at this point, because, yeah, but what are you going to do now? I'm actually going to do this to see what he does. Because more or less, you've just given me this entire corner. And there isn't all that much that you can actually do here. You don't threaten me here. Oh, wait, that's bad. Oh, wait, that's bad, Brony. Never mind. That was a bad move. Never mind. Actually, wait, no, it's not. Connect. And now you just give me this. And it's Sente for me. That is a very, very bad move. That is very, very bad for him. There's just, to me, like, this outer influence isn't worth all that much. And you've given me the entire side. That's a huge loss. That is a massive, massive loss. He only has 2 liberties right there, so I think I can do this. It's not a bad idea. There is a problem with doing this, because I'm just going to get that right now. Huh. That actually might have not been such a good move. Probably not. Okay, I got what I wanted there. Let's do this. This could actually be Sente for me, and it basically is. Then we're going to play this move to reduce this territory over here, because there's not that much territory over there anyways, but we're going to try to reduce that. I think he's trying to play for over there, which is probably the right thing. But giving me this is bad. Yeah, I don't see this working out for him. And it is Sente for him. He does get that territory, but he gave up so much down here is the problem. I don't even know if I'm going to answer that right now because it's really not worth all that much. I don't think I actually want that. I'm going to go ahead and do this. It's much bigger. He can't really threaten me with... The thing is, he can't really threaten me with that. Like, if I just go over this way... I probably shouldn't have answered that. There are bigger moves than that out there. I think this is problematic if I do this. Definitely think it's problematic for him if I do that. He can go underneath like this, but this is very, very damaging for him. Like, he gives up so much by doing this. And it's Sente for me. Which means stuff like this is actually in play. Now, see, this looks like a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is like 25 points or so. So it's not nearly as much as people think it is. I actually screwed up in this corner. I could have gotten a lot more for that. I don't know how to make the... I don't really know how to take full advantage of this, though. This also solves this problem because this isn't really a threat at all now. Need to actually figure out how to take advantage of this right now. See if this works. Still owes a move here, though. And there might be something in... Okay, that's actually Sente. I do need to answer that. I'm just going to take this. That's a good move. That's an odd one. Definitely going to do this. That's pretty big. I'm just going to go ahead and take advantage of all these Sente moves. This is a really big one as well. I might actually fight him later for that. I'm just going to connect. Screw it. Okay, that's fine. See what this does. I'm personally not a huge fan of that particular move. I mean, I just want to fight this to see how this turns out, realistically. Because I am actually pretty strong there. Yeah, I can't, it looks like I can't do that.
Challenge received.
So I can't actually do that, unfortunately. He might have made a pretty big mistake there, actually. Because I can just do that, and he can't really do anything. Hmm. It's an interesting one. I think this is okay. Yeah, but these are still dead. Yeah, it's fine. He still has to O1 there, so it's Gote for him. Still has to answer that.
Byo-yomi.
And now this becomes very, very big. Just gonna do this. Just to avert any problems that might actually appear. Hey guys, please hit the likes. That would help me a lot. Yeah, I think he forgot he can't actually do that.
You have won.
So that's obviously a big mistake. But even before that, even before he made this screw up, even before he messed up here, I was up by like 25 points. So I had this game pretty much wrapped up at this point. So we're going to review this. So we go here. He goes here. So I've seen this opening a lot before, but I feel like if you did this, I feel like if black has done this first, you're trying to kind of create this side, and letting me get the double approach is very disadvantageous to black. So obviously I go with the normal Joseki, and I'm going to double approach here. And then he's going to do this. So I'm actually more than happy to do this. Like, not connecting this is very bad, but if you connect this, I feel like you're restricting yourself to too little territory here. The two corners are going to be bigger than the territory you have here, but you do have some influence. So he didn't connect that. He does this. I'm going to go in here and invade. This is fine. I probably shouldn't have done that, but I wanted to stick out the top. I feel like if you're going to do this, you should probably just do this as well. This gives you a lot more influence to work with here. Like, that just does, like, eventually I think I stuck out the top, but I think like this is pretty much Sente for black, because if I do this, then you essentially have the double Hane. So I feel like black should just go ahead and do that. If you're going to do that. If you're going to push here, I feel like you should just do this. I might just go ahead and do this, but then you basically have like immediate double Hane. So that's that. Pincer, I'm going to cut first because I want to reduce your influence up here. And this puts you in a tough position because that will reduce your influence up here by a whole lot. So he does that. Oh, by the way, is here you probably just want to do this because this gives me the extension. And now I'm going to come up here. Whereas before, like if you just do this, I would probably just eat. But now since you Haned up here, you gave me a free move here, so I basically can come over here. That's fine. I'm going to answer with that. I probably shouldn't have answered. You do that? You're trying to build this up here. But, like, I know you're trying to build this up here now. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the corner move. Because, like, this is, like, solid territory for me. And then it's still my Sente here. So I'm basically going to do this first. I think you could have done this and then just let me come up this way, but I don't really like that for black because it breaks your influence, and plus I'm pretty much sure that they'll actually go this way. Right now, this Hane is much bigger. So you don't connect, like this connection is big, but right now there's moves that are way bigger. So you connecting this basically lets me get this territory and this territory. And despite what the score says over here, yes, you solidified this territory, but you let me get like this corner advantage and this side advantage, which I'm more than just happy to take. So I'm going to extend up here. That threatens down here, so he answers. I am letting him solidify territory, but like for me, like getting these advantages is worth it. Because if he does this and I fly down, then he's got problems. So he's doing this, and then I'm actually coming up here. I'm just minimizing his territory. I'm doing that. I don't think you need to... I think I would just do this. Like, if I was black, I would definitely just do that and take the territory. There's not a whole lot of point to do this. I know you're trying to expand this, but once again, there's not enough points up here for you to actually expand. So that's not a good move, obviously. I really like doing these moves, but they're actually not very good moves overall. I feel like, I don't really know. I might not respond to this, really. I mean, you could just kind of do this and build up your, like, I would probably just do this because I would, like, White would have to respond somehow and just, like, I would build up the influence over here. So this is very problematic, doing this. If you're going to do this, like, I would just kind of, like, do this. And like I said, just build up your influence over here. Doing this is very problematic because I can cut and fight the Ko, but if I do this, you're kind of out of luck because you don't really have a way to contain it. Obviously, like letting me come up is not good because it separates, like it makes your corner group really weak now, and it makes this group weak. So doing this and then do this, I'm going to come out there. This move is very, very tricky because since your liberties are so tight here, you kind of have to answer with like this or this. But if you do that, actually like with this, I should have just come out this way first. That's pretty crucial. That's actually pretty crucial because, you know, like me doing this, like that's still good for white. It's still a big gain for white, obviously, at this point, but may actually not be quite as good as just coming out here. I personally think that this is the move. This is what I messed up on. I should have like come out here first because I have this move at any time. He has to actually answer this. So I do this. He does this. I'm gonna go here, and this basically secures the bottom, which is really really big. I guess like, yeah. Ooh. I guess that isn't so bad. I don't understand this movement, but yeah, I think like, yeah, doing this does give problems because I would probably just end up doing this. And that's fine because I could still come out here, but you're actually safe. So you can actually save these stones by cutting here first. I know there's some problems there, but you can definitely save these stones by cutting here first. This I'm going to do this. So that secures the bottom, and that's a big loss. Doing this is like gote for you. So obviously I'm going to come out this way. I still think this might have been a better move, honestly. I'm going to come out this way, double hane here, and then come out this way. Go down here, take this. The thing is, like, this result is I got the entire bottom. You still have some problems in the corner, and this hane essentially, like, this stone is actually captured. So I broke your influence as well. So you lost your influence and you lost the bottom here for like this, which is really not worth it. So this is why like where I went out so far ahead. He does that. That's fine. I'm gonna do this. Honestly, this is a bad move. I either should have done this, or I should have just jumped here. One of those two. So I do this. I'm gonna ignore that and come out here to break the rest of this influence. This is also another mistake because I feel like I would probably just do this. But it's a loss for black either way on this because like essentially like letting me capture this I think is too much. Yes, you secure your territory in here, but you're also giving me a little bit of territory out here, giving me these two stones. Yeah, you have a little bit of territory in there, and plus, like, you have to do this, and then I get to capture these two stones entirely. You did secure some territory in here, but you did lose a lot out here. Plus, the rest of that influence is gone. So that's obviously not going to be Sente anymore, because I have these two stones. I'm fairly safe. So I'm going to take this because this is a pretty big move. That's pretty big. I'm going to answer. He's going to answer. I shouldn't have answered. And then he shouldn't have answered here because this is only one stone. It's not that big. Not really sure what the biggest move is. Probably this. I'm going to say that's probably the biggest move. Because like the thing is, if you do this, it does take away my invasion. Plus you can have this like big leap in here. And so this move is going to be far bigger than this move. Because if I just do this, you can just go back in hane. So that's not a big deal. So he lets me get this invasion. I'm going to come up, jump. I was kind of afraid to do this, I guess, but I still have this. And you really, yeah, I don't really like this though. It's just kind of weird. So I decided to jump. He does this. I am more than happy to take this because this actually gets me very, very thick up. This gets me a much thicker up here. And I'm more than happy to let him get the gote squeeze. So like this is a pretty big advantage. This obviously was a really big advantage. He missed the Tsuji here, which is probably the game changer. So like these Tsujis, you have to be able to see kind of. And then obviously I'm just going to take the small advantages now. You know, like I used to just do this and just do this. But I think like this is actually more productive now. Like this is one of those things I've actually learned from Katago to actually bump. Go here, I'm going to take, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this stone. And this you really don't need to answer right now, but I guess like I have to take that stone as well. And then of course this is pretty big. So that's fine with him. That's fine. This is actually fine with him. I don't think this move is actually, I don't think this is a good, I personally do not think this is a good move. I think if I were him, I would just probably just go ahead and do this. It leaves other options open. And this jump obviously is going to be much safer. So like that, the other stuff would have never happened if he actually just did that. So this is like retreating for me. And then obviously I'm going to do this first, take all the advantages first. And that's one of the things that you have to like know about in game. Like you take all the Sente advantages first that you can, because each of them that gains you points. And then I'm going to do this because that's really, really big. You didn't need to do this right now. Eventually you're going to need to do that, but you didn't need to do that right now. And then of course, going to cut. Just going to come up here. Tari, this, then jump here. This is actually safe. But the move that screwed it up was this, because this is not a Sente move. You can say like, yeah, but that's Sente, but if I do this, you have to answer. Like if I actually do this, you have to answer. And that's not the correct answer. This is the correct, I would guess this is the correct answer. Because this is essentially home free. So this is a sequence of like 2 wrong fighting moves here that doom this group. Because like, first of all, like you don't do that, you just do this, and you're perfectly fine. If you do that, I do this, you do this, you do this. Actually, no, I can't really do anything here. There's all kinds of issues here. And you're home again. So essentially like this was actually alive. So there's a lot of differences here. He had to make 2 wrong, he actually had to make 2 wrong moves in here for me to capture this group. And once this group's captured, game is basically over. So that's how that game actually ended up. A big mistake down here. A really big mistake down here in the fighting. He could have saved this group. Like the thing is, after you lose this group, the game's like after you lose this group, as long as like as long as white doesn't screw up, the game's essentially over because you lost too many points down here and in the corner, and you damaged your corner too, and you didn't gain that much up here because you already had a lot of territory up here. So you gained maybe like 10, 15 points, but you sacrificed like 20 or 30. So that 15-point swap will determine the game. And of course, like 2 wrong fighting moves here just exacerbated the mistake. So that was that game. I think I do have two challenges. I will take the first one if he's still here. So that is this game. So I hope he's still here. If he's not here and this just times out, oh no, he's here. Awesome. Sometimes like I take a long time explaining the games. So people will like challenge and then forget they challenge me, and that's perfectly fine. I understand that. Traditional opening. I am very fond of these openings now. Generally, if someone approaches this way, the go under is the best move. I would actually think the most valuable approach is this one over here. I'm just kind of used to doing this. This is actually a play to gain influence. I am not a huge fan of this right now. I'm not a huge fan. It's actually a pretty even trade. I'm not a humongous fan of this right now, of this particular play. I think you're giving up a lot of the corner, but it's actually perfectly fine. That one I'm definitely not a big fan of because I've explained this before. This is not like There's still invasions here, first of all, that can easily be done. But the other thing is, like, I think just this territory under here, you do get influence, but this territory under here is smaller than the two corners. I think this is actually pretty important right now, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. Mission accomplished. So I'm going to invade down here. That's fine. The territory is sort of flat, so I'm perfectly fine with this. Do I really want to? Yeah, I actually have to answer that. It's going to try to make the Moyo here. It's going to turn out to be a pretty good fighting game, honestly. That one I don't agree with. There's not enough territory here. And I'm going to end up just attacking a stone for the most part. Probably not the best attacking move, but still. I would actually favor black's shape at this point, actually. Although I got 3 of the corners, so it's a little difficult to gauge, I suppose. Oh, I don't. The thing is, like, you invaded, so you can't afford to just give me this territory. Like, I understand I understand this, but you really can't afford to give me this territory. Like, this is so damaging. I understand that you like this up here, but oh man, so I just don't think it's I just don't think it's viable to give me all this territory first. Because, like, this is sacrificing so many points. And as white, I'm not really that interested in I'm actually not that interested in destroying, like, this territory. It is a lot of territory, I'll give you that, but you sacrifice so much on the side that I don't think I have a problem um, just going with it, you know? Like, I can just do something like this and build up my own territory. Yeah, you did get like a couple of lines here, but you sacrificed more than this down here. And plus, now you like leave yourself open to a lot of invasions. That's honestly not a good move, but I'll just go with it. That's also a really bad move. That's just kind of a weird move. That one that particular move you shouldn't even bother to answer. I should actually answer this one first. It's not so much like really having to hold the center or anything. It's just that he's just like I just don't think he has enough. I don't think he has enough territory at the end is the problem. Like holding the center is one thing, but like not having enough territory at the end is a completely different matter. I mean, like, I'm gonna give him this territory, but remember, I have this territory and this territory. It's really about like what you gain and what you lose and like how much you're giving up. I'm gonna see if this actually works or not. I don't think it actually does. Okay, clamp. That's not really worth it. Screw it. I'm just gonna do this. Because like he doesn't have any territory over. He doesn't really have any territory over here right now. So basically, the question is like, is my this territory plus this territory down here equal or greater than this territory? And I believe it is actually. I definitely believe it is because I have both the corners there. So yeah, there's another pretty big one here, I guess. I'm going to come up here just to fix this error if there is one. That was unnecessary because I'm going to go over here. So I'm going to fix all my problems because I feel like I just have a lot more territory right now. So I'm not really afraid of just, finishing the game. I'm not really afraid of finishing the game as is. The top alone, this, like which one, blacks or whites? I mean, like this piece is pretty big. This piece is actually pretty big, but my territory here is also quite big. And I think this is definitely going to put me over the top. I mean, this I shouldn't have done that, but like this is like pretty big, but this over here might actually be just as big as this is the thing. I'll do this first. This is big, but this is going to be much, much bigger. And he just made a pretty bad mistake. You have to retreat on this one. And the thing is, this actually is Gote for him, because if he doesn't do that, I break more of his territory. So I'm just going to do this. I think I'm probably ahead by 20 or 30 points, even like without this mistake that he actually made. I think I'm ahead by quite a bit, even without the mistake he just made. Just gonna do that. So like, one of the things about like playing like this is like learning how to peacefully win games is just as important as like learning how to fight. Yes, like mistakes like this you have to avoid, sure. Um, I agree. Like mistakes like this you have to avoid, obviously. But the thing is like just learning that like you're probably getting a lot more territory than your opponent is just as important. That's fine. So like one of the rules is like you don't have like if you know how to if you know actually how to if you know how to like count a little bit more specifically correct, you won't be so inclined. You really won't be so inclined to force fights that are bad for you. Because when I actually first started playing again, that was one of my major issues that I had. That was one of the major issues I had. Like I would actually try to like at one Dan I would try to start to force fights even though if I was ahead because I
Pass.
thought I was actually behind. Did he pass? Oh yeah, okay.
Remove the dead stones. You have won.
So 48.5. So that's a passive game. So let's actually review. Like see even without this mistake here, I'm up by about 30. Yeah, like you say like one Dan against 8k, 30 points isn't that much, but it's a win and it's a solid win. So there's no need to even without the Comey, I'm up by like 20. So the thing is like there's no need to force anything. If you can passively win by 20 points, you just passively win by 20 points. I mean, like in Go, the margin of victory is kind of irrelevant. It's either you win or you lose. Like there's no like in a tournament, you don't get points for almost winning or for like losing by a little bit. So I didn't play this game specifically well. One of my weaknesses is actually games where you're just trying to gauge big moves. And like I said, I think this particular approach is better. But I actually like to break my opponent's side, so it's just a habit thing. But in playing, I do think this is better. Um, that's fine. Like I said, I don't particularly like this move, but I guess since he's building up influence for the middle, it's fine. It just gives me more solid territory to work with. This approach, this is fine. I think I probably should have I should have either done that or I should have just done this. Because this cost me a little bit because it gives him it actually gives him this move which I totally forgot about. Extend, he does that. Like I said, this isn't as big. There's definitely better moves in this. There's a lot of forcing moves that you actually have here. You could even just do this, honestly. I would have to extend again. Like Going at it a couple more times might actually be your best bet. I'm going to come out here. Like, this is going to be really important because he doesn't want, because I know that he doesn't want me to break his territory here. So he's going to do that, giving me the Hane, and then doing that. And then I can just attack his stone. Giving me, like, this territory is not a good idea. Especially giving me this Sente territory. You can see, like, I gained about 5 or 6 points there. Because, like, what you gain in influence here is really not going to be is not going to be as much as what you gave up down here. So that's giving up too much solid territory. I'm going to do that. He's going to do that. Remember, like my purpose with this move is not to destroy his territory. It's just to reduce as much as possible. Because I know I already got an advantage here. Do that. I'm going to go here. He's going to... So this you don't really need to respond. I think there's just like over here, or like doing like over here. I think there's just the moves are just so much bigger over here because realistically, what we're really talking about is maybe like 1 or 2 lines worth of territory, and like if I do that, there's always danger of him doing that. So I don't know if I would actually do that. But even so, like this is the most I can break here. So you're talking about maybe 6 or 7 points here. Versus, I think that move's just way bigger. So having extend, that means like having him extend, like, I mean, if you look at the point differential, like plus 5.9, with this trade, I go to plus 9.2. So like I'm just taking the advantages. And I make this move basically because I know like most opponents at most levels will actually respond to this. But from what I learned from like looking at the Katago score, this is not worth responding to. It's just like, you know, like lower ranked players and even higher ranked players want to respond to this because they want to defend this territory. But you're really not counting like how much territory you're defending here versus how much a move like this is actually worth. So obviously I'm going to invade. I think that's like giving too much. Also, if I do this, I feel like that's probably... I think like either way, like the play is just way too I think he just played way too passive here. I do think he played way too passive here. I mean, if it were me, I would definitely want to fight if I was black. Because like at this point, I know I'm already slightly behind, and if I just play passively, I'm just gonna lose. So at this point, like I would definitely want to fight because white's already locked in here, and it's actually really hard for white to live. So this particular move is very, very bad. This particular move is a very bad move for white. So like I honestly, like when I was playing this, I was just testing to see what he would do. I should have just done this. So if you ever play this, Joseki, or if you ever play this invasion, if you play here and he does this, just do B14, because if you do this, a lot of higher ranked players are almost guaranteed to do something like this and just fight you in here, because this is actually a really tricky situation for white. So I did this. I kind of guessed he would actually block that black would block this way, and that gets me a pretty big advantage here. That doesn't make any sense. You don't really need to repair this, because let's say you just do this. If I do this, you can just come this way. So this is more of a wasted move. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that first. Also, like when I do this, you can think of doing this. Because remember, the white's two stones are in a really bad position right now as well. So, like when I peep, you like in this situation, I've already got a big advantage here, and I'm probably already ahead in points. So when I peep, you have to think about counterattacking. Like if black is ahead, then black should just connect. But since black is not ahead, black should probably do something like this. So that gives me a pretty decent advantage. And then I'm just going to come up this way and solidify this territory. Because now I know like my territory is just going to be bigger than his. Yes, I'm only ahead by 12 points, but that's enough of a margin for me. I'm just going to go ahead. And of course, like, you know, him doing this, it doesn't give him too much territory because I can come in this way at any time. And it gets me like this whole entire territory. So by changing by not going here and invading my territory and just letting me exchange territory, this one move costs you about 6-7 points. I'm going to do that. And then he does that. I'm going to fly this way first. I don't actually know what the best response is to this. I honestly would just do this, honestly. This is worth a lot because it threatens to come into here. I would honestly just do that first, and then see what white does, because there's a limited number of points in here. I'm just gonna take all the jumping advantages. Then I'm gonna take this advantage. That's fine, but there is a little bit of Aji in here later on. So, and then I'm going to do this. You're going to respond. I'm going to do this. So, like, I'm basically poking and prodding at his territory just to flatten it out. And that's how I went from, I mean, that's like the few moves on exchange here basically made the points go up from like plus 12 to plus 25. Because, like, I wasn't playing very aggressive. Like, could have I done more? Could have I, like, could have I tried to do more? Sure, I could have tried to do more. I could have been way more aggressive and did something like this. I don't think that would work, first of all, but even, or I could just like straight up like Hane, like there's really not much he can do if I just Hane. I could just straight up Hane like that as well. But at the same time, like this, because I have this cut here, I could definitely have problems with Haneing. But like I could also try Haneing this way as well and risking that fight. I don't think this would work out for me either, but like I could be more aggressive. But at this point, I'm like, I'm already up, so why? So like if you're up, you can play a little bit more safely. And if you know you're up significantly, you can play a lot more safely and just make sure you win. So I'm basically just like trading a bunch of these moves right now. I know I'm up by like 20, 30 points, so it doesn't really matter. And of course, I'm just going to take the advantages here. And do this. So you can see just by passively moving, just by white poking black's territory and black always responding and making more passive moves, you can actually get ahead by quite a lot. And you don't need to win by 100 points to win the game. Winning by 25 is perfectly fine. So like the thing is like if you can elicit a response from your opponent to a lot of your poking moves, you gain a small advantage. And having like very, very big, like having accumulating a bunch of small advantages will get you a pretty big advantage that ensures your win. And at the SDK level, if you can actually see that, you will improve your play by quite a lot. Because like if you just poke and get like 1 or 2 point advantages over time, they will accumulate to be a lot. Like this move, like this game actually just showed. So that's going to be the lesson for today. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. I will be back hopefully tomorrow, and I will see you guys later.